punt. Best offensive player and their best defensive player.
So for today's podcast, we had Matt Hasselbeck on. He's spent 18 seasons in the NFL, backed up Brett Favre early in Green Bay, then become a long-time starter in Seattle from 2001 to 2010. 6 playoff appearances, 11 games in the playoffs, a Super Bowl trip, 3 Pro Bowls, and now the Seahawks Ring of Honor. His story and journey was awesome, wasn't it?
Mate, incredible person, so humble, and the wisdom that he shared to us, to a couple of Aussies, absolutely invaluable. So I think everyone's going to really enjoy this listen today. We go into a bit about that 2005 Super Bowl run the Seahawks made. We learn heaps about the 12s and how that Seahawk fan base sort of originated into being one of the best fan bases, most electric fan bases in the NFL.
Talking about the Marshawn Lynch Beast Quake run, what a run that was. It is an incredible episode. So enough of us talking smack about it, and let's enjoy it. Let's go. Welcome to the Outback to the Endzone podcast, Matt Hasselbeck.
Hey, what's up? Thanks for having me. I'm fired up. Let's, I don't know what day it is there. I know what day it is here. I think you're ahead of us, but you tell me. You guys look wide awake. I'm getting ready to go to bed.
Yeah. 11:30 Saturday morning for us. So just started the weekend, ready to go.
That's awesome. Well, the miracle of technology, it's really cool to be talking to you guys instantaneously here. And Seahawks are in the Super Bowl. It's very good. I'm a little nervous with that Myles Garrett jersey. You know. I don't trust it all the way. I don't trust it, D lineman in general. But then a guy like that, as a quarterback, you don't want to hear, see, feel, sense that 95 coming towards you ever.
As a Browns fan, Matt, I don't have much choices. I wasn't going to go the quarterback routes because, the amount of quarterback jerseys, I'd be buying one every second day. So had to stick fat with Miles.
Well, you probably picked the wrong team to root for, but it's, say a prayer for you. It's been a tough journey for you.
It has. It's crazy how I even got into the Browns, but that's a story for another day.
I'm a Colts fan, Matt, so your presence is safe with me, mate.
All right. That's good. That's a great organization. I played for the Colts for a little while, and, obviously they had a lot of success with guys like Tony Dungy and Peyton Manning, and, it's just a well-run organization that's had success from, back to the Johnny Unitas days. But I was there kind of in the Andrew Luck days, and, they've had some success recently too. I think the future's bright for that team. But right now, all I really care about is the Seahawks and the Patriots. I mean, it's just so amazing. This is, my old team, the Seahawks, against my dad's old team, the Patriots. I live here in Boston, right, not too far from Gillette Stadium, where the Patriots play all their games. And I was just out in Seattle for the NFC Championship game. Love Seattle. All my kids were born in Seattle. We loved the Seahawks. It was an incredible atmosphere. The 12s brought it, as you knew they would. But Mike McDonald and this team, they're just so easy to root for. They're so likable. Clint Kubiak has done an amazing job with this offense. And, I'm fired up. Like I know we got to wait like another week for this game, but I wish this game was Sunday. I'm so excited.
Yeah, you've got it. It's an absolute ripper ahead of us. And I guess we'll sort of wind it right back for you. We just want to touch over, I guess, a little bit of your career. So you started your career as a backup to Brett Favre. Like, he's one of the greatest quarterbacks to ever go. One of the toughest guys. I guess, how did that shape you as a player and as a professional throughout your career?
Big time. Our position coach that year was Andy Reid. Mike Holmgren was the head coach. Andy Reid, who's the head coach of the Chiefs now, obviously, he was the quarterback's coach. And, when I was in college, before I got to the NFL, I did everything the way that I was supposed to do it. It was like 2 + 2 = 4. If they do this, you do that. And I got to Green Bay and I just watched Brett Favre play, and he played like an artist, not a mathematician. It was like, well, they did this, you're supposed to do that. And he's like, nah, I'm doing that. I'm doing something else. And he just cut it loose. And, the way they would talk about it there is when you're a quarterback, paint your canvas. Like maybe it's short, deep. Maybe it's deep, back them up, and then it's short. Like paint your canvas. It's not like you don't have to be a robot. And so I think that was one of the things that I learned playing behind Brett Favre. It was a lot of fun watching him play. He's so talented. Brett Favre highlights are fun to watch if you ever get bored and you want to hop on, on YouTube or whatever and watch that. But no, it was great. I there was a front row seat to how to do it as a quarterback, and it shaped me for sure.
Hey, that's incredible. And obviously, after your tenure with Green Bay there, you moved on to the Seahawks, where your career success there speaks for itself. I think 11 career playoff starts with the Seahawks alone. From a quarterback's perspective, how different does playoff football actually feel compared to the regular season?
Yeah, it's way different. And I don't know why. It's the same game and the same, 100 and whatever, 100-yard field and 53 yards across. And I don't know how many meters that is. I can't do the translation for you guys, but uh, no, it's the same. But I think what's different about it, what's super different about it is you're doing it also in front of all of your peers. Everyone else is at home watching, the players, the coaches, like they're at home watching. You're the only game on. And so I think that matters. And also, like, there's light at the end of the tunnel. A lot of guys have surgeries at the end of a season, and, it's can be tough, fighting through an injury that's 2 months long and you're having surgery the day after the season's over. But, when you get into the playoffs, you can just feel like the finish line's right there. Like you're running a marathon and you're at mile 25. It's like just one step at a time, you're almost there. And, I know for me, in the playoffs, a lot of times I was hurt, a broken wrist or an MCL or an ankle or like something, and it was like a shoulder surgery. And it was like, just get through, man, like just finish strong. And so I think like that's sort of everyone, you're just getting everybody's all. No one's sitting out. If you can go, you go. And the excitement from the fans is something too that just naturally raises the adrenaline.
Your career was full of some great playoff moments, but from our point of view, I guess trying to show Australians how exciting football is, and one of the big, well-known playoff moments was the Beast Quake moment and that playoff game, which a lot of people I don't think realize. You guys finished the season 7-9, and you were hosting the defending champs, the New Orleans Saints, and then the Beast Quake happens and it hit the Richter scale. And can you just run us through that week, I guess, the preparation for coming in as underdogs, playing at home because you just won the division, and then when Marshall and broke loose for that Beast Quake touchdown?
It was a true David and Goliath moment. The whole country, the whole world, they were like, you guys shouldn't even be in the playoffs. You don't even have a winning record. You don't deserve to be in the playoffs. It was Pete Carroll's first year as head coach. And because of the way the playoff structure is, we were hosting a playoff game. And Seattle, I don't know how well you know your geography, but Seattle is like way tucked up north in like the northwest, farthest point away. We're the farthest team away from really anybody. And the Saints are way down in the southeast part of the country. And, can you believe that the NFL is making the Saints, who are the world champs with Drew Brees and Sean Payton, can you believe that they're making them go play the pathetic 7-9 Seattle Seahawks and Pete Carroll and, all this stuff? Can you believe that they have to go on an airplane to go play these guys? Obviously going to win, blah, blah, blah. And go watch that game. Like, go watch that game. Our crowd from the jump, they were so gassed up. They were so fired up. It was a whole nother level of energy in that stadium. And, it wasn't like a blowout either. It was a good game. We scored, they scored. It was a lot of lead changes, a little bit of trickeration in that game, but it was great. And then the game was kind of near the end, and we're just trying to run out the clock. And then Marshawn Lynch has the greatest run in NFL history to kind of help seal the game.
Can you go back to the, I guess, feelings on the sideline, like the noise the 12s made, the just atmosphere, as you said, of Lumen Field?
Yeah, so I'm running behind Marshawn on that run as an example. And like literally I'm running not that fast, but I feel like the ground is shaking and I'm like, oh my gosh, like whatever. I'm not, I don't know. Well, it turns out there was literally an earthquake, like seismic activity that was caused by our fans jumping up and down at that moment as he would break each tackle. But even before that, I threw a few touchdown passes in that game that were, at times to like unlikely people, and just the energy level. There was one pass I had. It's actually one of my favorite passes that I've ever had in that game. It was to a backup tight end named Cameron Mora. I thought he scored on the play. They said he jumped out of bounds before he scored, but it was like a double move. It was a pump fake. It was like a hitch and go. So I pumped it to the hitch. He turns around, he goes deep, and then I throw it, but I don't see what happens. Like I get hit like immediately as I let the ball go. And so I'm laying on the ground and I can't see what happens. And I'm just quiet. I'm just like listening to the crowd because I can't see the result. And then all of a sudden I hear, ah! And I was like, oh, must have caught it. Great. Let's go. But I mean, that's just the energy of that crowd. And I also think it was like mostly our fans. Like there weren't any Saints fans there because I think they were kind of like, we're not going all the way out to Seattle to watch them beat up on them. Like we'll wait till the second game, the next game of the playoffs. We'll go to that game. And it was a great moment in NFL history.
For sure. And I think like from our perspective, like watching football from the other side of the world, Lumen Field's definitely on the hit list because everyone talks about how crazy the 12s are and how that atmosphere is. And I encourage a lot of Australians that get the chance to go visit because that's, I think, the stuff that really excites Aussie fans. So
yeah, I would say it's a bucket. It's a bucket list kind of place, and it wasn't always this way. I mean, it was brand new. The stadium's right next to the baseball stadium where the Seattle Mariners play. It's right on the water. It's right downtown. So you don't need to rent a car. It's close to the airport. It's close to downtown. It's close to everything. It's close to the Starbucks headquarters. I mean, it's really a bucket list item. If you can go see a home game, especially a big game in that stadium, it's so easy. Not every stadium is like that. Some stadiums are a pain in the butt to get to. They're far away from the airport. They're far away from downtown. Hard to get a ticket, all the different things. Seattle is just an incredible trip. Highly recommend.
Matt, just for like any Aussies that are listening and like they would probably know the Seattle Seahawks, but not know like the history of the 12s and the fans and how they have like the most electric fan base. If you were explaining it to like an everyday Aussie, how would you sort of tell that story?
Well, the Seahawks started in 1976. They had an indoor stadium called the Kingdome. Those fans were so excited to get a team in 1976, and they were so loud in the dome that the NFL actually made it a penalty when the crowd was too loud because the opposing team couldn't hear. And so the NFL would throw a flag and they'd be like, hey, if you don't be quiet, we're going to throw another flag on your team. In typical Seattle fashion, they just got louder and louder. And so the NFL scrapped that idea. Well, they tore the Kingdome down. And, there was a long period where the Seahawks, I don't think their last playoff win was like 1984 until we did it again in, I think, 2005. So there was a stretch there where we were playing in a college stadium or we were building a new stadium. And you kind of had to recapture that spirit of the 12, as they say. And so there were a couple things, the head of our team kind of went and talked to the fans and said, what's important to you guys? And, they had some thoughts. Hey, we want to be close to the action. We want to, whatever it is. And one of the things we did is we raised the 12 flag before the game. It's kind of a ceremonial thing. You'll have someone famous, kind of from the community or from somewhere raise the flag. And it's like a goosebump moment where everyone gets so into it. And so I think that's part of the history of it, but also knowing that, the people in Seattle kind of have a chip on their shoulder because they don't get a lot of attention on the national media. We're probably over caffeinated just a little bit too. And, that leads to the screaming and all that. But I also think it's a really knowledgeable fan base. Like they know very well to be unbelievably loud when we're on defense and it's third down. and to be quiet when we're on offense and it's third down. And so it kind of creates like this really fun atmosphere where you feel like you're, even as a fan, as a 12, you feel like you're, very much in the game.
That is insane. It's 100% on our bucket list. We can't wait to get over there, get to Lumen. Matt, if you take us back to 2005, that incredible Seahawks team, you had 13 wins, the best record in football. Sean Alexander wins MVP, and it's the first Super Bowl appearance in Seahawks history. What really made that team special?
You know what? I think we lost in the wild card game in 03. I threw an interception on the last play of the game in overtime against Green Bay. And then in 04, we lost on the last play of the game to the greatest show on turf, the St. Louis Rams, on a pass that I threw pretty hot in the end zone. We weren't able to come down with the catch. And those two, I would say, kind of like devastating losses, I think propelled us to greatness in 05. I know for me personally, and I think for our team, kind of had this mindset, if you do what you've always done, you're going to be what you've always been. And that's just like kind of coming up short. And we just wasn't an option in 05. Like we were not going to be denied. And doesn't mean it was a perfect season. We start out our first week, we lose week 1. Then we got our act together, and then, we had a close loss where a field goal hit the upright mid-season in Washington. We'd meet them again in the playoffs. And then the last game of the year that we ended up losing, we sat our starters basically. We helped Sean Alexander. We played him till he got the touchdown record. He won the MVP. That was important to us. But then we kind of rested everybody for the rest of that game. Ended up losing the game. We thought it was Brett Favre's last game. We were way wrong about that, but we thought that was his last game. So we were we were 13-3, but I almost feel like, we could have been 15-1 that year. It was a really good team, and we might have been less talented than we were in previous years, but we were more dependable and more accountable. And I don't know, like we had each other's back in a way that we hadn't previously. And so we were the best. I believe with my whole heart, we were the best team in football that year. Now, we ended up losing the last game of the year, the Super Bowl, to the Pittsburgh Steelers, which still shocks me to this day. They're a good team, but we had the better year. It's a good lesson. Doesn't matter what kind of year you had. It matters what kind of Super Bowl Sunday you have. I think it's a good lesson for the Seahawks right now. Doesn't matter that you were the 1 seed and the Patriots are like some young up and coming team that wasn't even, they won 4 games last year. It doesn't matter. Whoever wins next Sunday wins it all. But no, we were, that was an incredible run. It's too bad that we didn't end up finishing it out, hoisting a Lombardi, because we were certainly good enough. We just, didn't make the plays, and they did. They ran a double reverse pass on 3rd and 28, and they stifled us in other ways too. So it was, a tough one to swallow at times, but a magical year nonetheless.
As you said, it's a great lesson going forward. And sometimes, as you're saying, with the team camaraderie, I relate it back to Sam Darnold now through this year, the bumps in the road he's had on his path to now playing on Super Bowl Sunday. So I guess we'll roll into Super Bowl Sunday. How big is the Super Bowl week, and how different is it, I guess, to just any other playoff or regular season week?
Yeah, well, it's weeks, not week, because you get 2 weeks, and it's like Pavlov's dog. Like you get to that 7th day, your body, it's like it hears a bell and it's like ready to go. You start salivating, like you're ready to roll, but you got to wait another week. And so by that time the game comes around, you're anxious, you're ready to roll. I remember for me, I was ready to cover a kickoff or something. I'm like, let's go, man, let's go. The time for talking is over. All we've been doing is talking. Let's play. So yeah, it's a lot of distractions. There's also some different things on game day. The pregame performance, you're on the field longer. The national anthem's longer. I know for us, our halftime, they told us it was going to be longer. The Rolling Stones performed it at our halftime, and they went longer than they were supposed to. So, that felt different. So there are some things that feel different, but you just got to do the best job you can to make it kind of the same process as much as you can. And I think controlling your energy so that you're not exhausted from the week of anxiousness and interviews and all that stuff. It's, there's an art to that.
Mate, when you look at this Super Bowl matchup, what's the first thing that jumps out to you from a quarterback or game planning perspective?
They're pretty even teams. They're pretty similar teams. I think the coaching style is similar. I think the upside on the quarterbacks is really good. Both teams, both teams do a great job of rushing the passer with just 4 pass rushers. They don't need to blitz to get a pass rush. And I think both teams really tried to do a great job of investing in their offensive line this year. And it's been great. It's part of the reason these quarterbacks have had so much success. They've invested in the offensive line. The offensive line, for the most part, has done a good job. But no, I think that's probably the biggest thing, I think, in similarities. And I also I think that the Seahawks are deeper. I think they're more experienced. They're like maybe 1 year ahead of the Patriots. So for that reason, I would not be at all surprised if the Patriots run their trick plays. Josh McDaniels has been known to run. You've seen Julian Edelman throw passes. Like, those plays are coming back. Who's throwing it? Is it Pop Douglas? Is it Matt Collins? Is it Stephon Diggs? Is it Travion Henderson? I think the trick plays are going to show up somewhere for the Patriots.
Yeah, it's going to be crazy. And Super Bowls have had some amazing trick play moments, as you mentioned earlier, unfortunately in your 05 one. But remember the Nick Foles play where
the Philly special.
Yeah.
And let me just tell you, like, why that is that a lot of times you'll put in a play early in the year for a certain team and you don't get it called, but it was a good play. And so you keep practicing it. And then the whole year you've practiced it. Well, guess what? This is the last game of the year. It's kind of like leaving a game and taking the timeouts with you. Like, you don't get any extra points for taking timeouts home. You don't, go ahead. Don't take your trick play home that you've been working on all year. Might as well run it. Might as well shoot all the bullets in your gun, so to speak. And especially for a Patriots team that I think they're going up against the number 1 defense in football. It's hard to move the ball. It's hard to score points. Sometimes you got to use smoke and mirrors and trick them because they're maybe a little bit more talented than you are. So that's why I think, last game of the year, the best defense, it's in Josh McDaniels' past. I think it's going to happen.
Well, I can't wait to watch. If you had to make a call, obviously you'd be on the Seahawks bandwagon.
I mean, can you tell?
What would you say is the main reason, with your analyst hat on, that the Seahawks will win?
Yeah, the depth is a thing. The fact that Drake May's shoulder is bothering him. Early in the week they were like, "Oh no, his shoulder's fine." Then it was like, "No, he didn't throw at practice from the first day of practice. Didn't throw at all." Not one pass that they showed during media. So then it was like, "Oh, well, yeah, he's got a little bump and bruise, whatever." And then the next day he didn't practice at all. Well, he's just sick. He's got the flu. And it's just like, I've been as a quarterback, when you're hurt, that injury report, there's certain teams that just tell you straight up. The Denver Broncos, Sean Payton. Hey, Bo Nix broke his ankle. He's done for the year. I'll tell you right away. Other teams, I don't want to name names, Patriots. Other teams, they're a little more sly with their injury reporting. They do what they have to do and nothing else. So I think for that reason alone, that would give me some pause. Now, Sam Darnold, he's been dealing with an oblique injury, but I think that's, we're 3 or 4 weeks out now, and that'll be better. But the shoulder injury for a quarterback and a guy as talented and as awesome as Drake May, I think that's that's concerning.
If you had to give us one player to sort of keep an eye on, someone that's not like a big name, like a Drake May or a Sam Darnold, someone for Aussies who are maybe just tuning into NFL for the first or second time, who would be that player from either team?
My real sleeper, the guy that no one's expecting to do anything, is Jake Bobo, wide receiver for the Seahawks. Now, I say that, and he caught a touchdown pass in the last game. So he had caught 4 passes the whole season. He only comes in to block, and then he runs this great route and catches a touchdown in that game. So I don't know if it's that much of a sleeper if I say him, but a guy that hasn't done much in the playoffs is tight end AJ Barner. And I just think he has had an amazing year. He's stepped up
Mm.
on and off the field. I think he's a leader. He's physical. He's the guy. He's a tight end, but he comes in and plays quarterback when we do the Philly special, which is kind of like sorry, not the Philly special, the tush push, the brotherly shove, the Jalen Hurts play. Kind of looks like they're down in Australia playing a different sport, if you know what I mean, on that play. So maybe we need to figure out how to stop it. You guys could let us know. But when the Seahawks come out in that short yardage situation, it's AJ Barner. Has not shown up much in the playoffs, but AJ Barner is a major factor as a blocker, as a receiver, and then also in those short yardage goal line situations at quarterback.
Love it. Well, we can't thank you enough, Matt. Well, hopefully we get the opportunity to catch up at some stage over Super Bowl week in
I'm going to be looking
Fran.
for you guys at Radio Row in San
100%.
Francisco. Just
We
don't
will
have that
stand
Myles
out.
Garrett jersey on.
I'll make sure I'm wearing like an Australian cap, like a bright yellow one, so you can't miss me.
Actually, you know, the Myles Garrett jersey might play well for you there. You know, that you might find some fellow suffering Browns fans that like it's like, hey, come on, man, just give me a hug, bring it in, just give me a hug. I feel your pain, you feel my pain, and I feel your pain.
Oh, there's a lot of pain. We have to wake up at 5 a.m. to watch the games, and this year was, or the last however many years, but this year was it was grim there for a good time.
Hey, you have two quarterbacks in the Pro Bowl, Flacco and Shedeur, both in the Pro Bowl this year. I mean, come on. Who
Okay,
cares
what-
if your coach got fired?
What am I complaining about? I've got 2 Pro Bowl quarterbacks I could have watched this year.
It's amazing.
Thank you very much, Matt. You've been an absolute legend. Yeah, we can't wait to catch up and
yeah, listen, my pleasure to talk to you guys. I've never been to Australia. It's on my bucket list of things to do. It's on my wife's bucket list. So if it's on my bucket list, it might happen. If it's on her bucket list, we're definitely coming. Okay? So,
love it. Well, we'll
Thanks for
hook
having
you
me,
up
guys.
when
I
you're here for
appreciate it.
sure.
We'll look after you, mate. We'll look after
All
you.
right. Thank
Just
you,
a
guys.
little shout out before we go. The Seahawks International Fan of the Year got announced last weekend, and he's an Aussie Seahawks Sam. Haven't met him before, but does amazing content. So I'm sure when if you come over, we'll get you hooked up with him too.
That's awesome. That's really, really cool. When I come to Australia, I'll make sure to bring a better looking jersey for you to wear. Okay? Because
Maybe hook me up when we get to Super Bowl week, and that gives me a team to support for the game.
Okay. All right. That's a good idea too. That's a good
Very
idea
good.
too. Well, thanks guys. I appreciate it.